Is the RX100 Mark VII still relevant in 2022? Why did I look at my watch?
They don't think we can keep making hits about cameras. But I'm the cameraman. But I'm the cameraman. Stay creamy. Yeah, started on a 50 mil lens.
Hey, if this is your first time coming to the channel, I'd like to welcome you. This is Lessons Learned with Cameras. My name is Willie. So, over the course of a 3-year time period, I've purchased plenty of cameras, gear, accessories, trying to find out what works and what will improve my workflow. Back in 2019, when I started my primary YouTube channel, I was looking for a camera that would provide the one and done concept. Something that was future-proof, something I could grow with or I would grow into over time. You know, I started looking, and the camera that I seen a lot of people talking about, there was a lot of buzz on it, was the RX100 Mark VII. Me knowing hardly nothing about cameras, I jumped on it. So I purchased it, you know, $1,200 later. I felt like, you know what, I can't be stopped. I have a vlogging camera now. I am ready to go. Little did I know, over time, that camera would end up on my shelf of shame back there. I wanted to revisit that now. I wanted to take this camera out in 2022 and see, is this still a relevant camera? I haven't used it in over a year. I haven't put a battery in it, haven't powered it up or nothing. That's how long it's been back there. So I thought I would do a test vlog and kind of see if this is something that I could add back into my workflow. Now, especially since I'm more familiar with it. So I'm just gonna get right into this. Some things that are good, bad. I'm just gonna tell you that right off the bat, just so you can know, and then I'm gonna go out and do a test vlog with it, and we're gonna see how it performs in the field. Some of the good things about it: excellent image quality, flexible video options, lens has a lot of range, 24 to 200, there's no way to beat that, okay? I don't know of no other point and shoot camera on the market that still provides a 24 to 200 or have ever provided up to a 200 millimeter range. Now, some of the not so desirable things about the camera. Not one of these in particular is a showstopper, but when you add them on top of each other, you know, it just depends. First thing, there's no place to mount the mic. If you want to use external mic on this camera, there's no place to mount it. The lens and the aperture, it's not as bright as previous RX100 models. That by itself could be a showstopper, but there's workarounds. And depending on how you vlog and what you film and the time of day, it may not matter to you. What I found to be the biggest showstopper in 2022 for this camera is the price. I was looking online to see what this camera cost in 2022 if I wanted to purchase it, or if someone was getting into vlogging and they wanted to use this camera as a viable option. I couldn't find this camera no cheaper than mid $850. I've seen it anywhere from $850 all the way up to regular retail price of $1,200. That right there is a showstopper. Definitely in 2022 with other cameras that are on the market, that's a hard pill to swallow. I don't see how in 2019 this camera was being presented as that. And I've seen so many YouTube videos and tutorials on this camera back then when they were presenting this camera as the vlogging camera. Now, to their defense, at the time, the only other choices out there, well, there was a lot of choices, but the main choice that they were putting this camera up against was the Canon G7X Mark II or the Mark III later on. If those were the only choices and comparable to this camera at the time, based off of what I know, I probably would end up going with the Mark VII because I wanted a camera I could grow with. So without further ado, went ahead and took this camera out for a test vlog just to see again if this is something still viable that I can add in my workflow. So I'm out now doing the vlog test with the Sony RX100 Mark VII. Some of the attachments I got on it, I have the Sony Bluetooth wireless grip, the Rode Wireless Go 2, and the small rig cage. Right off the bat, I can tell you, I love the way it feels having this camera in my hand. I really miss it. The main thing I like the most about it is it's really not intrusive. You don't really gather a lot of attention when you're vlogging with this camera, but that's like with any other point and shoot cameras, it's the same concept. Currently the settings I'm using, everything's on auto, just to make it very simple. Because again, if this was a camera that someone was getting for the first time, to start vlogging with. I don't think they would be in the menu system trying to put it on manual. So I'm just trying to make this really simple and kind of give you the perception or give you the feeling it would be if you had this as your first vlogging camera. In the daylight, this camera is awesome. No issues whatsoever. The f-stop is currently 5.6, so don't have to worry about getting anywhere close to the 2.8. But the flip side of that also is I won't get that shallow depth of field, that blurry background. Well, this kind of brings one of the first problems with this camera, and that's the fact that there's no built-in variable ND filters. Do you need it? I'm not really one who uses ND filters, so I'm not going to act like I do. But if I had it in the camera, I would have it set to auto, and then it would just kick in on its own when need be. The camera is set to active steady shot, which gives you about a 30 millimeter focal distance. So technically, this is what it looks like with active steady shot on. This is active steady shot turned off. Right now, you're probably witnessing a lot of the shakes. I'm trying to walk normal, but if I slow it down a little bit, hopefully I could balance it out. I wouldn't use this unless I was planning on putting the video footage into Catalyst Browse after I was done. So let me show you what Catalyst Browse would look like. And this is Catalyst Browse. See how buttery smooth it is right now? The only thing about using Catalyst Browse, everybody knows it adds another step to the workflow process and the time it takes to render the footage itself. This is in standard steady shot. I never use it in this setting. Most of the time when I have it on, it's always inactive. Now I have it in intelligent. So the Mark VII has 3 different settings for stabilization. You have obviously off, standard, active, and intelligent. I do feel that there's a lot of learning curves with the Mark VII versus other point and shoot cameras on the market right now. It's not as user friendly for someone who's just starting vlogging. And I don't think it's really user friendly for someone that, if this is going to be their first camera. This was my first camera, and it took me a while to learn all the settings and to learn a lot of the shortcomings with the camera. This is with the Rode Wireless Go attached. This is external audio. I never had a problem with audio, whether I was using the Rode Video Micro or using the Wireless Go. And this is with internal audio. I had to adjust the audio settings a little bit due to unhooking the Rode Wireless Go. Hopefully that still sounds good. It's a little windy out here. I know you can probably hear a lot of the background noise now. So I went ahead and switched picture profiles. Right now I'm using the fake S Cinetone, the one that is kind of similar to the A7S III and the FX3. Just wanted to give this a try, see how this looks. Picture profiles really, again, isn't my thing. I don't really have time for all the color corrections and color grading and posts. Getting better about it. I appreciate it. I value a camera that does have it in there, but it's not something that I use in my workflow. Okay, I changed it back to no picture profiles. I couldn't see my face no more in the display, had to take my glasses off. But it brings me to another point here. Pairing this camera with some of the other cameras in the Sony line. Okay, I don't think this camera really pairs well with the A7C, with the A7S III, with the FX3. It's not really a camera I would feel comfortable if that was something that I cared about with color sciences, which in all actuality, honestly, I really don't. But if I did care about that, that would be something that would be a factor in deciding if this was a camera that I wanted to use as a beat camera. I personally feel this camera pairs well. God, man, what can I say? Mouth is getting dry. Man, all this talking. I personally feel this camera pairs better with like possibly the A7 II, A6600, even possibly the A7 III, and that may be a little bit of a reach because the color sciences are different in the Mark VII than it is in the 7 III. I love the fact that it has a manual focus and ring. So you could tap the screen, hit your manual focus, then tap it again, put it back, and autofocus continuous. Man, somebody put a chair right out in the middle of the river. So this is the Arkansas River. It runs through my town. Maybe they're waiting on something to come out of there. If you're using this camera and you're trying to film like inside of a restaurant or an area that's very low lit, this is the results you get. And this was one of the issues that I had with the RX100 Mark VII. Like right now, my ISO is totally cranked out. It's like 12,800. I just realized something else that I don't like about this camera. Like right now, I can't see my shutter, I can't see my ISO or my aperture. Because when you flip the screen up, the bottom part is so low below the main part of the body that you can't see all the readings at the bottom. So that poses a little bit of an issue. Whereby if I had a screen that flipped out to the side, I would be able to see exactly where my settings are at. So when you're vlogging and you're on the go, that could be an issue. Is it a deal killer? Probably not, but still just something else that can get annoying over time. Okay, so I'm back out here again doing the low light test. Like right now, I could barely see my face. The only thing that is around it is the box. I lost the eye auto detection. And I mean, it's kind of early in the evening, but then again, it's winter. So, I mean, it's gonna get darker quicker. But this is just to show you what it looks like in low light. This is also with the active steady shot on. So, I don't know. Is everything clear or is it blurry? Also, results will vary depending on how much light is in your surroundings. So, I mean, right now, this is just a regular neighborhood with street lights and whatever else is still available because it's not totally dark yet. See, now the eye autofocus came back. Now it keeps switching back and forth. So, how does that look? Okay, how does that look? Okay, it's backtracking my eye. ISO is 12,800, f2.8, 1/25. See, this is when the shutter gets this low, trying to compensate for having no light out here. That's when you start to have the problem with the crappy motion blur. So this is when this camera gets kind of annoying to me. And I mean, true, I'm walking in a neighborhood. I don't really do vlogs walking through neighborhoods. Most of the time when I'm out and about, it's in places that are better lit than neighborhood streets. But still, you can still see how much grain is introduced into this footage. And that doesn't change, mainly because of that f2.8, which is why now on a 1-inch sensor, it's a no-go for me using that for trying to vlog at night. But again, this was a lesson learned because my first camera, point and shoot camera, the Mark VII, I didn't know no better. But now I know that sensor size does matter. I'm not gonna stay out here too late. I'm not trying to become a statistic, you know. I wanted to get this low light test over with kind of in the same day. I didn't want to have to come back tomorrow and try to do it. So this is it for the low light test. Let's head back to the lab and check out the results. Okay, so to sum up this video, is the RX100 still relevant in 2022? And would I purchase this camera in 2022? Quick answer, no. I would not purchase this camera in 2022. Main reason, there's just way too many better options out there now that are more cost effective and so forth. I mean, the cost alone, this video could have been like a 30-second video just talking about the cost and comparing it to other cameras that I feel provide exactly what I would need if I was just starting vlogging like today and I wanted a all-around camera that, you know, was budget friendly. I do think this camera is for someone who has a lot more camera experience, someone who maybe is a professional, who likes to utilize all the functionality and all the options of what this camera provides. I mean, there's some things with the RX100 that I love about it compared to the ZV-1. One thing I would say is the build quality. You know, RX100 is built like a little tank, a mini tank. The ZV-1 feels like a toy, like a Tonka toy. But again, I am later on going to do a video comparing these two cameras to each other. So that's something to be looking out for in the future. If you like this video and you feel it was informative, please drop a like. You want to see more content like this? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Definitely more to come. Talk to you later. Nah, that's not my thing. I don't do that on this channel. Plus, I can't even reach my lens. All right, out.